What's up, everybody? We're live. How's everybody doing? What's going on? TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. How's everybody doing? How's your life? Let's get some comments going here on the chat. Welcome everybody in from Instagram. What's up, Homa Yuns? Abadur Manavik. Oh, all these names are so complicated. Vibhulushan. What's going on, everybody? How's TikTok doing? Krishna Virla. To us if. Thank you for a simple username there. Let's see. Only Goran, top developer. What's up, everybody? What's going on, Chip, Sean? I'm Jason, full stack developer here at DevSlopes. I'm going to be filling in for Mark today. He's off busy doing some stuff. What's going on at Digital Species? Welcome, everybody. All right. So, everybody, welcome. I'm Jason, full stack developer here at DevSlopes. So, we're going to keep it casual here. We're just going to do some questions. So, who is learning to code? You know, if you're stuck learning to code, where do you want to go? What do you want to do with it? Go ahead and shoot me some questions. I would be happy to get your development journey rolling. So let's see what everybody's doing. What's up, Michael Cook? Welcome. All right. Let's see what's going on TikTok. Only Goran. What programming language should I start as a very, very beginner? So what I would do is I would pick, instead of a programming language, pick a learning path. Like, what do you want to do? Do you want to build mobile apps? So if you want to do mobile apps, you've got iOS or Android apps that you could do. So you could do Swift or Kotlin. If you want to do web development, then dive into HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And then once you've mastered those, or not necessarily mastered, but once you've become proficient in it, then you can jump into other frameworks like React or Angular, for an example. So pick a learning path, and then that'll determine what programming language you want to do. All right. Akush, want to start web dev. I failed at Android, afraid. Hey, you know, web development's fairly simple to pick up. Don't be afraid. Like, if you failed at one thing, like, keep trying and kind of see, you know, what programming language that you like. And I wouldn't say that you failed at it. You probably just got frustrated and stopped when things, you know, started getting hard. And so it's important to pick a programming language that interests you so that you stay motivated as you're, you know, continuing your learning process. So, like, for an example, when I first got into programming, I was like, headset, I was like, I'm doing iOS development. I wanted to be a mobile app developer. And so, but my first taste of programming, I got into web development. So I did web development, and then I just fell in love with it. And then I was still curious about iOS development. So I tried it, and I did that for, you know, a couple of months. But I just, for some reason, I just liked web development better. And so I switched back over to web development and was very passionate. And so when things got, you know, frustrating or hard, because I enjoyed what I was doing, then, you know, I was able to continue rolling with it. Let's see. What's up, YouTube? How should I know which path I should pick? So great question. It's just, what do you want to do? Do you want to build websites, CMS tools, desktop apps, mobile apps? Do you want to work on embedded systems? Do you want to build stuff for robots, smart cars? And so find something that kind of interests you in that technology sphere, and then that'll determine what programming language you're going to roll with. Let's see. How fast can I get to 85K, and what are the milestones? So I'm a self-taught developer. So when I first learned to code, I would say I did it on my own. So my path, like, it took me longer than normal. Like, what's really cool is here at DevSlopes, we have these different academies, and you've got instructors to work with. So if you have questions, you can actually talk to a real programmer, ask questions, and have a clear path of, you know, what to do. But when I was learning, I would say, let's see, I did 9 months of studying and learning on my own. After that, I got a contract position, and it was just a short 3-month position. But then when I would say after it was a year mark that I got my first actual development position, which started out at 78,000. And then probably 6 months after that, I switched to another development company, and then I was making around that 85,000 mark. And now I've been doing it for 5 years, and I make well above that. So it's very doable. Most beginner junior web development positions will start around the 65 to 75,000 mark. If you're doing iOS development, for an example, those ones can start you out higher. I know people for their first iOS development position started out at over 80,000 for their very, very first job. Let's see, what's the best way to learn programming? Well, start with some free YouTube tutorials. Start with those just to kind of get the ball rolling, make sure that you like programming. And then there's really 2 paths that you can do. You could do the 100% on your own, by yourself tutorials, which is going to take you longer. That's what I did. It's very, very frustrating. You're kind of flying blind. You don't really know what you should be learning, what you might be wasting your time with. Or you can join the DevSlopes Academy. Go to devslopes.com/apply, and you can work with me. For an example, so I'm an instructor for the Web Academy, and so I will work with you one-on-one. You have code questions, anything like that. I'm going to be grading your assignments, reviewing your code, and point you in a very, very clear path. And then we do all the career coaching and career prep and everything so you can land your job. We guarantee to prepare you and work with you until you land paid work, whether you want to do freelancing, do a startup, or get a job, anything like that. All right, Rick asks, I'm having trouble landing freelance jobs. I'm sending Loom videos and customizing my submissions. No responses. So freelancing, I did freelancing for a year. Freelancing is a lot of networking. So Rick, continue doing that, because you're going to go periods of time without getting responses. But if you're, posting so what I did is I posted on Upwork and then Facebook, and then I went to networking events in my area. And then I was able to just kind of network and talk with people. And that's how I landed some of my jobs. But keep doing what you're doing here. I'm not sure how long you've been doing it for, but if you've been doing it for several months and you still have no responses, there's probably something that you need to switch up, obviously. Let's see, casual, let's see. And no, do not learn Java before JavaScript, completely different. Yes, absolutely. Java and JavaScript are completely different. There's a meme out there that says Java is to JavaScript as car is to carpet. They're completely different. So thanks for pointing that out. Let's see, what do we have here on Instagram? And then I'm going to switch over to TikTok over here. Let's see. Mazhamed asks, why React over Angular? React is a way smoother transition. So when you're coming from web development, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, React is a much smoother transition because the syntax with React works more with the vanilla JavaScript that you're already used to working with. All right. So the learning curve isn't as steep. All right. You're doing stuff that you're already used to, whereas Angular, again, fantastic framework. It's different than React. React is strictly it's a UI library. Angular is full stack, handles everything from front end to back end. But Angular is a beast, and there are very, very Angular specific ways of doing things. Angular is very, very structured. There's a lot of opinions about how to architect and build your code with Angular. And some of the, like I mentioned, the syntax is very Angular specific. And so you're going to be finding yourself Googling a ton of stuff. Like, you've learned JavaScript, but then Angular will force you to do it, use it in their sphere of things. So you can definitely do Angular. There's a much steeper learning curve, and you have to use TypeScript, which is a superset of JavaScript. So you're used to JavaScript, but now all of a sudden you're switching over to TypeScript, and then, trying to learn that steep learning curve with Angular. It can be done. That's what I did when I first started learning how to code. I started out with Angular, and I think that's one of the reasons it took me a lot longer than normal, because here I am brand new to programming. I've got my basics down. And then all of a sudden I'm thrown into Angular. And as a beginner, I'm still trying to find where that, like, to find that line between what's really, JavaScript, like pure JavaScript, and what is like the Angular thing. And so that's one of the reasons why I think it took me longer, is I was doing Angular first. So that was a long answer for a simple question, but it's important. That's a great question. Do you work on more than one project at a time? I do. I'm working on, so I guess it actually depends on the job. So when I was working at Dell, I worked at Dell for several years as a full stack engineer. At Dell, there was one specific product that I was working on, just one project. That's what I did. Here at DevSlopes, I mean, it's a startup, and so we've got projects left and right. So I'm usually at DevSlopes working on like 2 or 3 different projects at once, just bouncing between them all. Let's see, Adish. Let's see, sir, C++ or C? Me install. Okay, I don't know. That went into a different language. But if you're doing C++ as your first programming language, C++ has one of the steepest learning curves you can do. If you're wanting to do like AAA games, embedded systems, build robots, things like that, go for C++. But the learning curve is insane. It's just ridiculous. It's one of the hardest programming languages to learn, even for seasoned developers. Like for me, if I was transitioning from web development over into C++, it's an insanely steep learning curve, even for seasoned developers. Which is better for mobile development, React for native or Flutter? That's a great question. They're both fantastic for mobile development. I've used both. I'm more of a fan of Flutter. Flutter is easier to get up and running. And I don't know, I just found it a lot funner to work with than React Native. React Native was an absolute pain to get the project set up. But they're both good. Let's check out some TikTok. How's it going, TikTok? Let's dive into some of these questions. What if I get kicked out of college? That's fine. You don't need college to be a programmer. I'm a self-taught developer, and I ended up working at Dell as a full stack engineer. So at the end of the day, nobody really cares about a computer science degree. Like, what does a business really want, right? Can you code or can you not code? At the end of the day, that's all that matters. Is a company wants a product and they want results. And so whether you learn to code from like Walmart or got a computer science degree or whatever, I know you can't learn to code at Walmart. That was a joke, but they just want somebody who can code. They don't care if you're self-taught or computer science degree. That's why, I feel like the computer science degree is a waste of money. You just don't need it. Let's see. Also, do you recommend a computer science degree or self-taught? I recommend self-taught. Computer science degree is going to teach you a lot of theory. So here's the thing. I have friends and family who have gone to, have paid loads of money, $75,000 for a computer science degree. All right. My friend who got his computer science degree paid $75,000, went to college for 4 years, got his computer science degree. He told me about his whole learning experience, how for like 2 months, they would do a lot of computer theory and they did a couple of projects. And then all of a sudden they switched topics for 3 months. And it's like, wait, what are you doing? If you're learning to code, you've got to get your hands on a keyboard every single day. You can't taking 3-month breaks because you're going to forget everything. And that's exactly what happened to him. He's actually a student in our iOS Academy now. And he says he has learned more with DevSlopes in our iOS Academy than he did in 1 month than he did in 4 years with a computer science degree. And he paid a fraction of the price to get into our academy. The other thing is college, they don't teach you the real world skills that you need, like how to use a terminal, version control. They don't give you enough hands-on experience. My oldest brother got his computer science degree, and being a self-taught developer, I had my hands on a keyboard every single day. I did more hands-on coding in 2 months than the 4 years he did in his computer science degree. So yeah, so that's how a computer science degree works. And that's not an opinion. That's just real experiences between self-taught and people who have done the computer science degree route. Let's see. How did you have the motivation to start? So the motivation for me to start, it was the life that I was living before. So I actually have a background of 10 years in regional sales. All right. Training sales teams. I worked for a few companies, regional manager, just opening up store locations. But then when I got married and I had a family and everything, and the sales job, it just wanted me on the weekends. It wanted me on holidays. I couldn't spend that time with my family. I was always interested in technology, but then I knew a couple of people who were programmers, and it seemed like they had a really flexible lifestyle. A lot of them worked from home. They coded, whenever they wanted to. They could, travel, go to Hawaii, whatever, code on the beaches, just things like that. And it seemed like a really fantastic lifestyle. So that's what motivated me to start. I finally got sick of doing sales and having that time taken away from my family. So I dived into programming, and it's changed my life. I've been programming remotely for almost 4 years now. I get to attend all my kids' events at school. I get to, spend more time with my family. I make way more money than I did doing sales, and I can travel and live wherever I want. My job doesn't depict where I have to live. Because I work remotely, I can live anywhere in the world. So that was my motivation. Considering iOS dev, but worried could be hard to find a job as a junior. So that really depends on your location. I'm not sure where you're located, but like I'm in Austin, Texas right now, and there is a plethora of, iOS development positions. So there's tons of them. So it really depends on location. The cool thing about iOS development as well is you really only have to learn one programming language. You're learning Swift. That's it. And Apple has done a fantastic job with Xcode, for an example, giving you all these tools and features that just work magically out of the box. And it has a really clean syntax to it. It's, I would say, one of the easier programming languages to pick up, even easier than web development. Web development, you have to learn HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and then the preprocessors like Sass. And then you get into other technologies and you're working with Node, and then other frameworks and libraries like React and Angular. And so it just is crazy. iOS is simple. It's just Swift. How do I start cybersecurity course? YouTube or find one on Udemy. Let's see. You think there's a job market for junior iOS devs, or should I stick with full stack? Absolutely, there's a job market. So my brother is an iOS developer, and get this, he worked at a call center, and he learned to code on his lunch breaks. That's how he did it. He borrowed a MacBook Air from a family member, and he wanted to get into iOS development because he worked at a call center. He was broke, and now he makes I don't know if I should say how much he makes. Let's just say he makes over $115,000 a year. And he's a self-taught iOS developer, and he's been doing it for 3 or 4 years is all. His first iOS position started him at like $90,000 a year. So yeah, it really just depends on your area. And the cool thing, I don't want to say it's cool, but with this whole pandemic thing, a lot of people are working remotely. And so to get into a development position, like a dev job, chances are you're going to be working remotely. And I think there's been this shift in the world where people are realizing how much work you can do from home versus going into an office. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of remote work that you can do as a junior iOS developer. I have a friend. He lives in the middle of nowhere. He lives in an RV. He just travels, him and his dog. He loves hiking and being in the mountains. And he's an iOS developer, and he literally lives in the middle of nowhere. It can't be the middle of nowhere because he has to have Wi-Fi, right? But he just travels and hikes around the world. He loves all that stuff. He's an iOS developer, so. Awesome. Miko Designs, he's spitting facts as someone who got a computer science degree. That's awesome. I'm glad that you can validate the things that I'm saying here. That's awesome. Let's see, Taka Pro. I have computer science and math degrees, and to be honest, it doesn't matter. so much in coding. I concur. I agree. Let's see. Let's check out YouTube here. Actually, how far? I'm right here, actually, at the bottom of TikTok. So let's see. Chaos Glafani. This motivates me a lot. I just turned 22 and I don't know where I'm going with my life. Hey, that's so awesome. I would recommend. I mean, if you're interested in programming, like as young as you can get into it, you think about it, like the whole world runs on technology. Especially with the pandemic, it has forced everybody into a digital space. And so the growing need for developers is just like booming. Whereas, the pandemic, it kind of like, sadly, it kind of ruined some other things in the job market and everything. As far as developers, like the market was almost not even affected because developers can work remotely. They make fantastic money. They have flexible schedules. And now that everybody's being forced into this digital space, this technology, like the rise for developers is crazy. And so being 22, that's awesome. I mean, I got into programming, let's see, just after my mid-20s. And like I said, I had actually, no, it was later than that. But anyways, I had a background in sales for like 10 years, right? I mean, I'm grateful I got in when I did, but I just think about like if I would have gotten into it sooner, how much would have changed my life in the beginning. But anyways, very grateful that I got into it now. If you're 22, explore programming, and if it's for you, you should definitely roll with it. Let's see. Same, I want to hop in, but I'm thinking of all these programmings, been coding since they were like 12. Sure, some have, but what's really cool is in our DevSlopes Academy, so we've got the iOS, the Android, and the web development academies. We've got students as old as 55 years old who have landed jobs after taking our academies. So you're never too young, you're never too old to start. All right, never too young, too old. All right, let's check out some YouTube here. Let's see how we're doing. What's up, John, Yvonne, Waldo, Mac? Welcome. Let's see, Sean Plus, what programming language do you think is not worth learning? Every programming language serves its own purpose in its sphere of things. I don't think there's a programming language that is not necessarily not worth learning. Like I said, it really depends on what type of things you want to do with programming. And so I think there's a programming language for each one of those categories. Is it necessary or more helpful to learn Java before JavaScript? They're completely unrelated entirely. Java is more enterprise programming language. You'll see a lot of corporations doing that. Android, I mean, you can use Java for Android, but the whole Android community is leaning over to Kotlin now. And so, the Java stuff's kind of phasing out as far as the Android scene goes. I mean, it's still there, obviously, legacy apps, but the whole community, they're pushing Kotlin. But there is a place for Java, but JavaScript, completely different. Let's see, Rick, I'm having trouble landing freelance jobs. Oh, yeah, I answered that, so I must have missed some questions on YouTube. Paul, getting a good paying job or building an application to make money from it, whether freelancing or whichever way, which were you inclined to? So when I first learned to code, let's see, I had been coding for, I think, 12 weeks when I started, pushing for freelance jobs. I tried applying for jobs, but with 12 weeks of experience, it was pretty rough. And so what I did is I shot for freelance projects. And that way I could get real world experience under my belt for my portfolio. I could show off work that somebody actually paid me for. And so I think, especially if you're going the self-taught developer route, do some freelance projects, because then you can show an employer that somebody has paid you for your skills. And that's really, really important. As far as, whether you want to stick with freelance or like a W-2 job, I did freelance for over a year, and I actually did freelance to the point where that was the sole income I provided for my family on just doing freelance projects. And in a lot of cases, freelance can pay way more than a job could. So one of the projects, I started out doing small websites, and then I started doing small pieces of software that people want. But near the end of my freelancing, I landed a client, and this project paid out about $100,000 over the course of like 9 or 10 months. And so it was a big project. And so I found two other developers, two other buddies of mine, and the three of us joined together and we took on this huge client. But it was cool. I mean, $100,000 over the course of 9, 10 months. And so the payout was amazing, but I wasn't really a fan of working with clients, because then you have to deal with their personalities. Clients can be super needy. They can try to, take advantage of you on the project. Like, it's called scope creep, when you guys agree to a certain project within the budget, but then they keep trying to squeeze in more development. And it just became an absolute pain to work with clients. And so I got out of freelancing, but it's personal opinion based on your experience. John B is hey, do I need to learn Java before Kotlin? Again, two separate programming languages. It sounds like you're moving into Android development, do Kotlin. You're going to write 40% less code. Kotlin is the way the development language that the whole Android community is pushing towards. And so learn Kotlin. I wouldn't worry about Java. If you're doing Android apps, do Kotlin. Let's see, Yvonne, I'm teaching myself iOS development for past 4 months. Still, I'm struggling to use API, JSON, and even constraints. I understand the pain. It's rough doing it on your own, for sure. The great news is, Yvonne, you can always check out the DevSlopes iOS Academy. You can work with mentors. We have a very clear guided learning path for you. We will work with you to land freelance projects, to get a job, whatever you need. It's lifetime access. We'll be there for you and support you through the whole journey. And we'll teach you how to use APIs and JSON and all that fun stuff. So again, you can go to devslopes.com/apply to check out the academies. All right, we've got a couple of minutes left here. Waldo Mack, can a person still do the academy if they can only commit 1 hour a day, but more on weekends? My full-time job is full-time plus. I get it, yes. The cool thing about the academy is you build it around your schedule. All right, so as long as you're getting your hands on a keyboard every single day, that's the most important thing. Consistency is key. That's what's going to make you successful. But yes, you can build the academy, your schedule for learning around your daily life. All right, that's one of the cool things. We don't have like these structured like class times or anything like that. It's kind of on your own, but every Saturday we hold these live weekly meetups where students can come in, ask questions. We'll do some coaching, mentoring, talk code, jobs, tech, all that fun stuff. So definitely check it out, devslopes.com/apply. Let's see, Bree, I'm stuck between DevOps and full stack developers as a career option. Please help. So it really depends on the path that you want to go. I mean, those are two kind of different positions, DevOps and full stack. There's more opportunity in full stack development. There's more job opportunities if that's your goal, is to get employed somewhere. What is the difference between developer and data scientist? Oh, sorry, I don't know what happened there. That was weird. My computer flickered here. So what is the difference between a developer and a data scientist? Well, one's a scientist and one's a developer. No, I'm just kidding. That is not true. A data scientist is working a lot with the data stuff. Developer, you're doing a lot of programming. Do I need to have, what do I need to have to learn more math to be a web developer? You don't need anything more than basic math skills to do web development. I would say 95% of the web development positions out there, and this is really with a lot of programming, it doesn't require you to be some math wizard. All right. You just basic math, addition, subtraction, division, multiplication, a little bit of algebra if you need there. So not a ton of math, very, very basic stuff. I mean, there are obviously those positions that require you to do insane mathematical calculations and things, like if you're building robots for Mars, things like that. But I would say for the most common developer positions, you don't need to be any type of math wizard. Jackson, I know Django in depth and use it with React. In my recent job, I have been using PHP, which is also easy for me. Should I completely leave Django since I don't use it often? I mean, if you don't use it often, don't worry about it then. So usually you'll choose technologies based on the projects that you're building. And if you're not using a lot of Django, then switch over to the technology stacks that you're using to code. Let's see, how much time? Oh, we're a minute over here. Here, I'm going to get to just a couple more questions here. And then we're going to call this done here. Let's see. Let me just see what questions are here. I'm not going to be able to get all of these. I'm sorry. So what I'll do is I'm just going to take like the last question or two from each channel here. Do you recommend Flutter for big applications like Uber or Glovo? You can definitely use it. I mean, Flutter can give you all the everything that you need. So you can do it with big applications and everything. But I mean, trending wise, like if you're looking for a job, you'll see that Flutter is being more so used in startups. But I mean, it's a development technology. You can definitely use it for whatever. But I guess you also have to take into consideration the size of your project. Like, how is it going to scale over time? What kind of database are you going to be integrating for the backend? Like, you want to make sure that you're using technologies that work together, that scale well together as well. All right, let's check out TikTok. Let's see. I graduated from a boot camp. I realized it was a very weak boot camp. Should I join a better boot camp? Hey, Hadi Chalon. I don't know how to pronounce that, but yeah. So when I first started to code, I took a 12-week boot camp. That thing moved fast. It went way over my head. After it, I was done. There was no lifetime access. I had thousands of questions left, and I spent loads of money, and it sucked to just, be left out on your own. Had I known about something like DevSlopes, where you get the mentorship and the coaching and code reviews, weekly live meetups, career coaching, job prep, all that stuff, it would have saved me like 6 months of time if I could have just talked to a dang developer and asked a simple question and had some clear direction of where to go learning to code. So you should definitely check out DevSlopes, the academies that we have. We have iOS, Android, and Web Academy. Go to devslopes.com/apply. If you want to do web development, I will personally work with you. I would be happy to help you accomplish your programming goals. So let's take some from Instagram, and then this is going to be a wrap. Let's see. How to overcome procrastination. That is the worst, right? Even I struggle with that sometimes. You just got to buck up and just do it. That's really it. You just got to do it. All right, let's take one more question here. Let's see. What should you do if you're looking for a junior position, but one that starts later at the day because you can't do morning jobs? Look for something remote. A lot of development positions are remote right now, so look for a remote job. Let's see. One more question. Let's see. What is the first language a programmer to learn as a beginner? So again, I see a couple of questions like this as well. So I'm just going to pick this question and answer it. Very first programming language as a beginner. Don't worry about the language. Focus on the learning path. What do you want to do with development? Do you want to do mobile iPhone apps? If so, you're going to learn Swift. Do you want to do mobile Android apps? Choose Kotlin. Do you want to do web development? HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Do you want to work on robots, embedded systems? Do C++. Okay, choose a learning path where you want programming to take you, what you want to do with it, And then that's the programming language that you should learn. All right. Well, everybody, it was fantastic hanging out with you here. Again, I'm Jason with devslopes.com. If you're interested in coding and you want some career coaching and to work with a mentor like myself, go to devslopes.com/apply. All right. As always, stay positive, keep calm, and code on. See you later, everybody.